The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of WBGR Network. Any questions or concerns about what is said should be directed to the show host, whose information will be provided upon request.
Hello, welcome again to Let's Talk Money 2020. It's Friday, April 17th, and good to be back talking to you once again. A lot has transpired over the last week in terms of the corona news, the corona stimulus packages, the checks going out, deposits hitting everyone's accounts, and deposits not hitting everyone's accounts. But a lot has transpired over the last week, and this is my weekly update on the things that we've seen in our office and the things we've seen in the news and other places. So let's get started. I wanted to first of all touch on a few points, and this is kind of rehashing from last week. Remember how I told everybody, look, don't rely on the stimulus packages that have been approved and supposedly been delivered over the last couple of weeks. And especially my business clients, do not rely on this. You see what happened this past week, where the White House announced that the money has run out now. As I said before last week, people were signing up at a rapid pace, and you know, I knew the handwriting was on the wall that it was not going to be enough money for everyone. And I do have my theories about this, and I don't have these grand conspiracy theories, but I do have certain theories that I think can be proven. One is, if you look at I think there was a big mistake in the way that the program was actually rolled out, because they said that it was really eligible for any business less than 500 employees. Well, to me personally, I think we have a problem with that approach, and I think it really hurt a lot of small business owners. Just think about something for a minute. If you have 400 to 500, or maybe 250 employees to 500 employees, but on the high side, what do you all have in common? If you have 400 to 500 employees, right? I'm going to tell you what all these businesses have in common. Okay, if you have built your business where you have 400 or 500 employees, then you have the best lawyers, you have the best accountants, you got great relationships at the banks, so that you can call a bank up and with your lawyers and accountants, and you can get your loan applications in relatively quickly. So what I think happened is, you know, a lot of people that we look at as being, I think, in our estimation, these are larger businesses, were applying. There was no revenue standard. There was an employee standard. But a lot of companies can have 500 and less employees and have been affected by a corona. I'm not saying that they weren't affected by corona. But if you had 400, 500 employees, then that tells me one thing. You already got lines of credits. You already got great banking relationships. So I think that these people actually jumped the gun on a lot of the small business owners. Like, for example, your beauticians, your barbers, your doctor's offices, the small business owner really doesn't have these accountants and lawyers and bank relationships to even jump the gun. And a lot of times, you know, you're scrambling, trying to get your numbers together, getting your financials together, that by the time you've gotten all this together, these guys have already jumped the gun on you. So I think that, and just look at the raw numbers. If you look at the PPP, for example, the PPP is based on the number of employees and the amount of employee wages that you have. So if you have, say, 500 employees, then your loan amount is going to be much, much greater than someone with, say, 2 employees. So if you get lots of people clogging the system early on, and they have 400 and 500 employees or less than 500 employees, they're going to get most of the money. I mean, this is not a grand conspiracy here. Just think about it logically. If you have many companies that have 400 to 500 employees applying versus the one guy who's got 2 employees, and he doesn't have the banking relationship to get his application in fast enough, who's going to win? It's the guy with the 500 employees, the 400 employees. They're always going to get the money first. And look at the amounts that they're getting as opposed to the guy who's got 2 employees. Again, remember the formula? It's 2.5 times your average monthly payroll. So let's just run the numbers real quick. The guy who's got 2 employees, just suppose his average monthly payroll is $10,000. Okay, he's eligible for a loan at $25,000, 2.5 times the average monthly payroll. Well, if you look at a guy who's got, say, $1 million in monthly payroll, just think about the size loan that he would get. I mean, it's a huge amount of loan. So if you say that the program started off with $3.5 billion, then okay, these guys are going to be sucking up the money really, really fast. So the problem is the small business owner doesn't stand a chance. So right now, Congress, I hear, is not in session, and they will probably pump more money into the program. Whenever they can pass another bill to get this to happen. I've heard conflicting stories where the Congress is out until May 5th or whatever. But if it does get funded, it will get funded probably late May, early June or something. And earliest it would get funded. So, you got to think about, okay, what are you going to do from today or going back to March 15th when all this stuff kind of really exploded up until, say, the end of May, early June. As a business owner, you got to think, okay, I'm not getting relief here. Remember, there was a grant that was supposed to be available to small business owners, and the grant was $10,000. Well, the government has already changed that. Over the past week, one of the changes they made is you're only going to get $1,000 per employee, which for the small business owner is a huge drop off, because they were expecting a $10,000 check to be put into their account, where if you only got 2 employees now, that $10,000 has just become $2,000. So these things change, but the point is I'm trying to make is, like I said before, like I've been saying over the last few weeks, we cannot rely on these programs. These programs are usually sucked in. The money is usually sucked up by people who don't necessarily need the money. And if they need the money, they can go get their own. They have the wherewithal to get their own personal credit lines. They have bank business lines. They got all kinds of credit. And these are the people that you'll find that will be quick at actually doing the applications. So another thing you got to look at is the weeding out process of the banks. So this is the reality. Yeah, it's an SBA type program. I'm talking about the PPPs and the EIDL. They're government-backed programs where the government will step in and actually guarantee these loans. But you got to keep in mind the bank is going to actually do the qualification process. So the bank doesn't want to be in a position, if these loans were to go bad, to go chase you down. Really and try to do some of the collection processes that they usually do. They want somebody that's safer to actually give these loans to, even though these programs are government backed. If you got to think about it from a risk standpoint from the banks, because this is the way banks think. Banks are traditionally, they lend money to people that are already doing good, and very seldom do they lend money to people that are struggling. So that mentality is still going to be there when it comes to having the banks really administer these programs. The problem with these loan programs is just that the banks are really in control of who is really getting the PPP and some of the other loans, the banks are in charge of that. No, so whenever you have the banks in charge of that, they're not good at this. They claim to be good at this, but they are not good at this. We saw the housing meltdown, where people were trying to actually get short sales, modifications, and look how long that process took. Some people were waiting a year before they even got a modification done on their loans. So what makes us think that really the banks are the best people to really administer these type of programs? Yeah, they step in and they want to help because they get a cut off of every loan, but the reality is they're not good at this. And if you saw what happened, the banks were actually, the websites were clogged down. The banks, the websites were shutting down, not letting people in, having different types of qualification processes. One bank might have said we need to have a lending relationship. Another bank said no, we don't need a lending relationship. But my point is, you got a lot of dynamics to get you through those hurdles to even get these loans. So do not depend on these loans. You got to push hard in what you know to make money, and like I said, you got to push hard. Some people are not in a position to push hard, like for example a beauty salon. If your state is under a lockdown where you can't open up your salon, then you're going to have to, my heart goes out to you. I don't know how you would actually function in that environment, knowing that you can't open up your shop. However, your bills are mounting and you can't get the help that you need. One thing that you might want to do is to go through the unemployment process. But even now, I hear that the unemployment process is really bogged down. So, my heart goes out to those who are in the position that they can't go to work or they can't make money because you're relying on customers to come in. My heart goes out to you. But that's my spiel on what has happened so far on the PPL and the EIDL. As you know now, the processes have basically been shut down for a while because the company has run out of money. But if you can file, I would encourage you to go on and file that application anyway, just in case the program gets funded really quickly. Then hopefully you can be in line to receive some of those funds. But my mentality is, if I actually receive funds, then fine. But if not, then I got to find another way, and I hope that will be your mentality as well. So we all know that the stimulus checks started to go out this week, and we did have a lot of calls regarding some people may not have gotten their checks because of various reasons. Some of the reasons may be that the bank account was closed. It could be that they owed last year or the last 2 years and have not had a bank account actually filed with the IRS because they wrote a check or paid with a credit card on their taxes, so they did not have a bank account on file. So in those cases, the IRS has actually, I don't know if you can see the website on the screen, because I tried to make this to come in white color so the website can be seen. But there is a website the IRS has established that you can actually give them your bank account information. So I'll read it to you. I can see it a little better on the screen here. www.irs.gov. Refunds. Get your refund faster. If you type that in, you should be able to get it. If not, what I did was I Googled IRS website to add direct deposit. I Googled that, and I saw the actual IRS link just pop up as soon as I put that in there. So try that again, IRS website to add direct deposit. So there's a lot of changes happen over the last week. If you don't have that bank account in the system, make sure that you can file a return right away. If you have not filed the 18 or 19 tax returns, you can file a tax return right away. But I would do it quick, fast, and in a hurry. File that 18, file that 19 tax return. If you just file the 19 tax return, you'll be sufficient to get that bank account information in. One thing I want to tell you though is if you owe for both 18 and 19. What you want to do is, and if you don't go to that website to give them your bank account, what you want to do is you want to actually pay when you file those returns. Just pick an amount. Pick $20, $30, $50, $100, whatever you want to pick. Pick that number to actually pay towards your balance when you actually file that return right away. What that does is it just forces the IRS to have a bank account information, have the bank account information on file at the IRS. So that's one thing. That's one way you can quickly actually get that bank account information in, just in case you have problems with the website. I have heard people have problems with the website actually putting their bank account in. I think one of the calls I got yesterday was he was trying to actually put his bank account information in, and they said that they could not validate him. So if you cannot actually get that bank account in by going through the website, just file a return very quickly and just pay, some small amount so the IRS gets it in. Now I can't guarantee that you'll get the direct deposit, but by doing that, you will at least get a check actually mailed to you. But the checks that are mailed are coming way later than you probably want to wait. Some people are waiting as far as 20 weeks to actually get that check. So be careful when you go to put these bank accounts in, and make sure that the IRS does have a bank account on file. They just did a round of checks as far as direct deposited into your account. But if you hurry up and get it in, I think they can rerun it somehow and actually have the money still go into your account. So again, if you owe, I've heard conflicting reports now on if you owe. I think we reported last week that if you owe the IRS money, then your money will not be, your stimulus check will not be taken. However, I think that still holds true, but I think what's happening now is people that have garnishments, like repos on cars and so forth, student loans. I think they are actually attaching your stimulus checks. However, I think Congress is working very diligently to make sure that this doesn't happen. If you owe an agency or something, I think they still want you to get your check. So, but some people's have been intercepted. I have heard that. The next thing I want to talk about here, let's see if I can pull it up here. Unemployment rolls. I think I already alluded to this. The unemployment rolls have been stymied because of so many people that are filing for unemployment. If you're shutting down your business and you're trying to actually get unemployment, which you can now, and even if you're an independent contractor, if you shut down your business, you can still get unemployment. But the question is when you will actually get that unemployment. It's a tough situation, and I feel for you if you can't have the funds right now to actually take care of your bills and so forth. But hang in there, stay positive. This is going to pass. I wouldn't let it get you down. All right, so here's one option that I want to kind of spend a little bit of time on. If you have a retirement plan, 401k, IRA, there is a provision that you can actually withdraw your money up to 100k right now, and actually you can pay the taxes on that 100k over 3 years, and you will not, I repeat, you will not have the early withdrawal penalty. So if that's an option for you, I would take advantage of it. I think it should be maybe one of your last options, because once you withdraw the money, then you're not going to be making any money off from it. Not that anybody's making any money off of this current environment, but later when the market rebounds, we hope you can, at least if you did not pull out your money, you can still make money. So again, no penalty here. You have 3 years to actually pay it back. You can only take up to $100,000. There's other things like the Family Leave Act. If you have to leave to actually leave work to actually take care of a loved one, then the government will pay your employer 2/3 of the salary. Remember that the PPP is 2.5 times the average. Now let me just take a minute and talk about this. On April 10th, last Friday, they opened up the portal for independent contractors, of people who have LLCs, people who don't necessarily have paychecks. There's a slightly different way that they calculate the amount of your loan. What they do is they take the net that's on your Schedule C or the net that's on your LLC on your 1065. And what they do is they take the average, so you divide that net by 12, which would be, one per month, and you would multiply that number by 2.5. So it's a slightly different calculation. However, if you do have employees, you can add your employees into that calculation. So I think I got an example here. Yeah. So if you're just suppose you're a guy or a lady that has a salon or whatever, and the sales are 100 grand. I'm just pulling these numbers out of the sky here. 100 grand. And your expenses are 75,000. That means you got a net of 25,000, right? Remember on the PPP for people who have employees, you take your total number of employees and you divide that number by 12, the annual amount, divide that by 12, and multiply it by 2.5, and that gives your maximum loan amount. This is a little bit different for self-employed people. So you get that net number, which in this case is 25,000. You divide that number by 12, you get 2,083, and then you multiply that by 2.5, and that would be your loan amount. A little bit different. It's very restrictive, in that it's not. You probably will not get the PPP loans that a business owner would have if you had a Schedule C, an S corp, or so forth. But it is out there. And remember that the three really big programs out there, all three of these have stopped. I wouldn't really look for anything in the near future from these programs because they said the money has run out. Okay, so we can move right along here. I'm just going to switch here because I know we talked about some of this stuff before, but here's an alternative strategy here. I don't have a lot of faith that a lot of people will be getting these PPP loans and the EIDL loans, but here's a strategy you could take in lieu of getting that PPP loan. You can take up to 50% of the payroll taxes and get a credit for those taxes that you pay up to $10,000 in wages. That's an option for you. But you can only do either or. So if you got the PPP loan, you can't take advantage of this option. Or there's a option where you can take the employer taxes, and you can actually take up to 2 more years to actually pay off those taxes. So that might be an option for you if you're a business owner and you struggle with paying the payroll taxes. Payroll taxes can be pretty significant. So if you were to take those payroll taxes and defer those payroll taxes out 2 years, that will help you out. And you can really pay it back the way you want to pay it back. So for example, you could pay 50% in 2021, and you could take 50% and pay in 2022. So that might be an option for you if you got payroll, you got employees, and you really are struggling with actually making those payroll payments right now. This would be a great option, especially if you don't have that PPP. Now, one thing that I'm really thinking about now is if you were to get the PPP later and you already plan to actually make these payments over a period of time. What takes priority? Would you decline the PPP just to take this credit? I guess it would depend on the size of your payroll and the amount that you plan on deferring out into the future. So you'd have to take a real good assessment of how much you're actually deferring versus how much would I get for the PPP. So you would actually have to run the numbers there to see which way you come out best. So, as I mentioned before, the self-employed people, you can actually apply for the PPP, even though the program has no money. I wouldn't let it stop you. And just because I mentioned in the beginning, I mentioned don't rely on this money. I'm really not disencouraging you to actually apply, but I want to be real with you at the same time, right? You cannot really wait for this money and expect things are just going to kind of fix themselves on their own. because it probably will not happen. So with that, I'll take a small break here, and we'll run a few commercials, and we'll come back in just a few minutes. So hang tight, and I'll come back with some more good stuff for you. Hi, I'm Troy Emory. Here at TD Emory and Associates, we offer a wide variety of business tax services for small and large companies, including corporations and partnerships, nonprofits, and real estate taxation. Also, we offer audits, compilations, and reviews.
Let our knowledgeable staff at TD Emory and Associates help you optimize your tax benefits today. Dependable, accurate, trustworthy. TD Emory and Associates. Dependable, accurate, trustworthy. TD Emory and Associates.
What is this? The IRS?
We know that your tax preparation requires more than just the basics.
Hi, I'm Troy Emory, and I've spent my entire professional career helping taxpayers in a variety of tax issues. Let us show you how to confront and solve tax issues with every viable option under the law.
Call the tax team at TD Emory and Associates now.
Okay, we're back. One of the questions we keep getting in the office is how do we how does the client actually get their taxes actually prepared right now, or how do we conduct business going forward? And I just want to just let everybody know that we are still open. I personally go to the office almost every day. I'm there more than I want to be there this time. Because we are actually allowed to be in the office because we're one of those essential businesses. We fall under financial services, so it's okay for us to be in the office. So what we're telling people is basically, some of you already know this, but we're telling people, look, don't put yourself at risk. Don't come to the office if you don't have to. You can send us your docs. We have many different ways you can send us your docs. You can do it by email. You can upload to a portal that we have. We can set up your own space on a portal, or you can fax it. I've even had some people actually just take pictures of the documents and then text the documents over to us. So basically, you send us the documents, we do the rest. We can actually have online meetings where you can see our screens, and it's just like being in the office. No, I guarantee you it's no different. So just to be real quick, what we do is you upload the documents. We have the web meetings with you. We'll communicate constantly with you, whether we have to do virtual meetings, just 2 or 3 virtual meetings, or one virtual meeting, or you decide not to have any. We like the virtual meetings because we can go over the tax returns line by line with you, and it's fun to talk to people at the same time. So when we've been doing the virtual meetings now for a couple of years, so it's not like it's a new process to us. We've been doing virtual tax returns for several years. We're just kind of picking up the volume here. All right, so we actually still give you the recommendations. We'll actually write up recommendations, send them to you, or we'll go over the recommendations there on screen with you. So you can e-sign your documents. This is a thing we've been doing for a couple of years as well. For people who don't live in our area, we do tax returns all over the country. So we'll send you an e-sign link, DocuSign link, and you'll sign the tax returns. You get copies. You get copies of your source documents, whatever you need. And one other thing that we're rolling out now is we're actually giving you access so that you can actually get copies of your tax returns anytime you want to. So the way that works is you let us know that you want to be a part of the portal. And what we do is we have a space set up for you where you can actually see all your tax years, all your tax documents anytime you want. You just get your own username and password. We have a security firm that actually makes sure that the site is secure. They do constant security checks and that sort of thing. So we're really excited about that because we always get we always get requests to send me last year's tax returns, 2 years tax returns, or whatever. So now it's a self-serve type deal. We'll still, if you call us, we'll still send you the tax returns, but or any other documents you might need. But now we have a self-serve option as well. So we're really, really excited about that. So we send you electronic invoice. We e-file the tax returns. We give you the e-file confirmation. We send you copies of the returns and copy of your documents and so forth. So it's really worked out pretty well for us. One thing that we have been doing also, we've been helping people to actually do quick P&Ls. I think I've had some weekly calls where I actually showed you on the screen here how to do those P&Ls. But we think it's very important now because a lot of these applications, they want you to submit a P&L, so we kind of quickly show you how to do that, so we won't be, I guess, a hold up in the process. If you have your bank statements and so forth, just look at some of the other shows that we had in prior weeks, and I'll walk you through how to actually do a quick P&L. And if you can't complete it, you run into some problems somehow, just call our office. We'll be glad to really help you out there. So I think that's it for this week. I will, as usual, I will keep you abreast of all the developments. There's been a lot that's transpired. There's a lot transpired every week that we come on. So I'll try to keep you updated throughout the week. But next week, we'll come up with a whole new set of circumstances, new developments, new calls that we fielded. So stay tuned, stay safe, and we'll talk soon.
Dependable, accurate, trustworthy. TD Emory and Associates.
What is this? The IRS?
We know that your tax preparation requires more than just the basics.
Hi, I'm Troy Emory, and I've spent my entire professional career helping taxpayers in a variety of tax issues. Let us show you how to confront and solve tax issues with every viable option under the law.
Call the tax team at TD Emory and Associates now.